This is the White House, and this is the Kremlin. These buildings house two of the world's most powerful leaders, each probably feeling more powerful than the other. Each of these two buildings are adequate in their own ways, and living in one doesn't necessarily make you less secure than living in the other. However, what makes these two entities stand opposite to each other is the ideological and political differences they each stand for. This video is a comparison between the two institutions, not just as places where the two presidents live, but also as an ideological comparison between the two nations. Security is one area where both the White House and the Kremlin pull out all the stops, but each has faced its own unique scares. In January 2015, a small drone unexpectedly crash-landed on the White House lawn during the early hours of the morning. It turned out to be a non-malicious act by a government employee, but the incident revealed a serious weakness in the White House aerial defenses. The drone had flown undetected, slipping past the infrared and radar systems due to its low heat signature. Only after it hit the ground did alarms go off. The security breach raised eyebrows and forced the Secret Service to rethink and enhance anti-drone technologies, deploying more advanced surveillance and interception systems to prevent future mishaps. Over in Russia, the Kremlin's obsession with food security stems from a chilling history of real-life poisonings. One of the most infamous cases was that of Alexander Litvinenko, a former Russian spy poisoned in London in 2006 with a rare radioactive substance, polonium-210. While he wasn't poisoned in the Kremlin, the international fallout reinforced the fear that such attacks are not just possible, but probable. More recently, in 2020, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny was poisoned with a Soviet-era nerve agent, Novichok, while traveling in Russia. These incidents have led to extreme measures in the Kremlin's kitchens. All meals are weighed, tested by doctors, and sometimes even tasted by food specialists before reaching the president's plate. In the Kremlin, food safety isn't just about hygiene, it's about survival. But in terms of general security, each of these buildings are well protected. For instance, the White House is surrounded by a steel fence over 13 feet tall, equipped with pressure sensors and anti-climb technology. Snipers watch from the roof, surveillance cameras monitor every inch, and ground-based sensors detect motion, heat, and sound. The White House is also protected by a no-fly zone and surface-to-air missile systems, not to mention a small army of Secret Service agents, and even guard dogs trained to chase down intruders. The Kremlin, on the other hand, is built like an actual fortress, with towering red brick walls stretching over 2 kilometers. Its security includes the elite Federal Guard Service, a heavily restricted perimeter, and a labyrinth of internal corridors and tunnels that make infiltration nearly impossible. While the White House leans on technology, the Kremlin adds layers of ancient architecture and state secrecy, creating a defense that's both visible and invisible. In terms of layout and structure, the White House is a carefully planned residence and workplace situated in the very heart of Washington, D.C. It occupies 18 acres of land and stands as a prominent symbol of the American government. The building itself has 6 stories, 2 below ground and 4 above, and covers around 55,000 square feet. It has 132 rooms, including 35 bathrooms, 28 fireplaces, and 8 staircases, not to mention the famous Oval Office where the president conducts official business. Outside, the White House is framed by elegant gardens and expansive lawns, often used for events like the annual Easter egg roll or official ceremonies. The north and south lawns offer space for press events and recreational use, while the west wing houses the Situation Room, press briefing room, and the Cabinet Room. There's also the east wing, which includes offices for the First Lady and support staff. Underground, there are tunnels, an emergency bunker, and secure routes to other government buildings. Recreational amenities include a gym, swimming pool, tennis court, bowling alley, and a movie theater, blending functionality with presidential comfort. The Kremlin, by contrast, sprawls across 68 acres in the center of Moscow and is far more than just a residence. It's a full-scale fortified complex. Surrounded by red crenellated walls and watchtowers, the Kremlin contains 5 palaces, 4 cathedrals, numerous government offices, and extensive gardens. The Grand Kremlin Palace, once home to the Tsars, now serves as the official residence of the Russian president and the site of major state ceremonies. Its layout is a blend of medieval Russian and Renaissance Italian design, with white stone courtyards, golden onion domes, and deep echoing halls. Inside, there are over 700 rooms, including ornate reception halls like Georgievsky and Andreevsky, richly decorated with marble columns, chandeliers, and historical symbols. Some parts are open to tourists, but many areas remain strictly off-limits. Beneath the Kremlin are secret tunnels and bunkers, some dating back to the 14th century, reinforcing the image of the Kremlin not just as a symbol of authority, but as a fortress of history and secrecy. And then there are the state dinners. At the White House, the grandest of these affairs take place in the state dining room, where heads of state dine beneath chandeliers and toast with speeches wrapped in diplomatic decorum. There are stories of Easter egg rolls gone hilariously wrong, with toddlers escaping into the Rose Garden and dignitaries mingling among confused parents. At the Kremlin, however, things are considerably more formal. Banquets are rehearsed like opera performances, and the St. George's Hall, with its massive gold-embossed pillars, often hosts over 500 guests with military bands and Red Army choirs providing the ambience. The differences extend into public access and transparency. At the White House, visitors can take guided tours, though highly vetted, and school children send letters to the president with hopeful expectations of a reply. The Kremlin, on the other hand, opens its gates only selectively, and even then, much of what lies within remains shielded from public eyes. It is a symbol of power, not necessarily one of the people. What these two places reveal about their countries is striking. The White House embodies the ideals of American openness, individualism, and modernity. Its white neoclassical facade echoes the Enlightenment values of its founding fathers. The Kremlin, by contrast, radiates continuity, centralization, and mystique. It's a fortress that has outlived empires, revolutions, and ideologies. In the end, comparing the White House and the Kremlin is less about which is better and more about what they represent. One is a transparent symbol of democracy, the other, a majestic embodiment of enduring statehood. One values accessibility and relatability, the other, reverence and awe. They are, in essence, reflections of the souls of two nations. One open, the other opaque. One welcoming, the other guarded. One rooted in revolution, the other in empire. They are more than buildings, they are statements, standing proudly under the watchful eyes of history and satellites alike.